Thesis, parts and a general overview. This is going to be a quick little synopsis of what goes into a thesis and what the various parts of the thesis are and what we're looking at when we start dealing with this. Basic structure. We got all these parts of the thesis. It says we got a title page, copyright page, signature page, dedication, acknowledgements, table of contents, abstract, list of tables, list of figures, introduction, literature review, materials and methods, results, discussion, references in the appendix. Let's look at some of these because some of these we've been going over in much more detail and some of them don't need a whole lot of detail to go over. Title page. This is what your title page looks like. It basically tells what the title is, who it's by, and in this particular case, this happens to be of a student who graduated in the summer of 2016. And it has a part in here which talks about what it is. That's your title page. Your signature page is where you get the signatures of the various people who have to be able to approve this in order to be able to get everything done. So we have a signature page that looks like that. We have a dedication. Read. It says, this is a personal content, but remember, it will be published for the world to see, which means if you put a dedication in, nobody has to approve it but you. But remember, it's going to be there for the world to see because once this thing gets published, that's it. Dedication is totally optional. You don't need to put a dedication in if you don't want. Acknowledgement. Here's your rule. Include anyone who had a significant role. Just because somebody was in the lab when you did something doesn't mean that they did anything significant and therefore doesn't mean that they need to be included. Include any entity that provided funding. If they gave you money, it was significant. It comes down to when you're looking at it, you want to make sure that you put in people who gave you money. The acknowledgement is personal content and does not need to be reviewed, but remember, it will be public. If you didn't get along well with your advisor, my mother always said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything. Do not write down in an acknowledgement that you had a problem with anything, because if you do, it will be there forever for anybody to see it. And when you do that, they could affect your ability to get a job later on. Acknowledgement. Significant people gave you money, put it in there. And again, this is not something that needs to come up till your thesis is actually published. List of contents. This is the listing of all major parts of your thesis. And again, you only list the first page. You don't need to go out there and over here, we got a bad example. Because it says, oh, table of contents is this page. No, you only list the first page in it. You don't go out there and you don't put chapter 1, 1 to 9. No, chapter 1 is page 1. Identification of the problem is on page 1. Statement of the problem is on page 7. Purpose of the study is on page 8. Significance of the study is on page 9. That's all you need. We have a list of figures. And the figures are a graphic representations. They must have legends that explains the figure. The legend is on the bottom. First sentence is in the list. Now you can see that some of these are not very good as far as figure legend goes. And these were changed around. And you've also got figures that go 1 to 6, and then you got A's. The A's are the appendices. And they should be listed in your list of figures as well. So that is quite correct. And you've got a list of tables. Table is written representation of material in a tabular form. Must have a legend that explains the table and the legend on the top. The first sentence is in the list. Now again, this is a rough draft of a not very good way of looking at it. There should be much more information on all of these. Abstract. This is out of a paper. An abstract or a summary is a short 1 to 2 page synopsis of everything. Only uses the main points. You are going to take your entire thesis and break it down into 1 or 2 paragraphs, which means you don't go into a lot of detail, but you have to have all the information that's in there. And that's what this does. And if you read through this, you'll see that it touches on great generalities on what we've got, but that's what an abstract is. Then we've got separate videos which talk about introduction, literature review, materials and methods, results, discussion, and literature cited. And the only thing that's left out of here is the appendix. The appendix is other material that might or might not be cited in the body of the document. It often holds large volumes of tabular material that might not be important to have in the body. Over here, this was out of my dissertation. It says Table 5A, regression equations for chlorophyll AB and AB levels of the third leaf of bent grass plants treated and non-treated with the respective levels of TCA second run. Variables are Y equals micrograms chlorophyll per milligram dry leaf weight, and X equals the number of days after planting. And it shows you the equation that was calculated out for each one of these levels for chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll AB ratio, right? And it gives you your R value in here. You can see that in these are polynomials. So it's got x's and x to the fifth or x to the third to fit the equation in the right way. And then it's got your R squared value, which is your best thing in there, which is your goodness of fit of each line. A, statistical significance decision levels were 3 stars, alpha equals 0.01, 2 stars, alpha equals 0.05, and 1 star equals alpha 0.1. NS is not significant. So anything even up to the 10% level was shown in here. But what this does is this allows you to make a decision on your own based upon the information that is presented. Appendix. When we look at a thesis has all these different parts in it, and the final product has to have all these things coming together properly.